You've no doubt experienced them many times before. Eerie spaces, some you may know, some you may not, but none of them currently fulfilling their intended function, and in not doing so, leave you with the very strangest of feelings. You feel that something isn't quite right, but what exactly is that feeling you're now experiencing? Is it anxiousness? Is it hope? Longing? Nostalgia? Melancholy? It's hard to be sure, because for most of us, this odd feeling can be almost impossible to fully grasp. Sometimes it's fleeting, other times it lasts for the longest time. The usually hectic, but now completely empty and eerily silent airport at 3 a.m. Just you and your growing sense of unease in this otherwise familiar place. The often chaotic and noisy school playground that you've only ever known to be full of children playing, shouting, laughing. But yet, now, on a holiday afternoon, it sits totally still and eerily silent. A frequently busy, neon-lit gas station, this time surrounded by nothing but total darkness. No people, no sign of life at all. The low buzz of the station tube lighting the only detectable sound. These places aren't actually haunted, but they definitely feel like they could be, or even sometimes like they should be. Welcome to the unsettling world of liminal spaces, where reality itself feels ever so slightly off. And the world around you, the world that you thought you knew, becomes both familiar and unfamiliar all at the same time. For many of us, it can feel quite unnerving. The science of unsettling liminality. Your brain is wired for survival. Of course it is. You're an evolved human with a well-tuned survival instinct, developed over thousands of years. And when our human brains encounter a place that feels off, too empty, too still, too quiet, it starts searching for both meaning and threats. Threats that may or may not even be there. Meaning in the sense of, why is this place not doing what it's supposed to? Why does it not feel like I'm used to it feeling? Will it ever feel that way again? Or has that time simply passed, never to return in quite the same way? A hallway that should be filled with people, but right now it isn't. A hotel reception area that feels lived in, but is at this moment in time entirely void of life. Your human mind works hard to fill the gaps, and what fills them isn't always comforting. Sometimes it's even quite disturbing. The word liminal comes from the Latin word limen, which means threshold. Liminal space is a phrase that is used to describe the uncertain and sometimes uneasy transition between where you've been and where you're going, or what something has been and what it might become. This could be physically, emotionally, or even metaphorically. Liminal spaces are transitional spaces with no humans, no life, and a vague sense of nostalgia, sometimes even melancholy. They are the uncanny valley of spaces and architecture, just familiar enough to be creepy. Liminal spaces in culture and media. Horror, in the movies, on TV, and on the internet, has always deeply understood what makes liminal spaces so terrifying. The endless rows of cookie-cutter suburban houses in the 2019 movie Vivarium are a perfect example of an outside liminal space. On the one hand, the sheer number of houses suggests there should be a lot of human life around. But on the other, their perfect uniformity in every possible way suggests no life at all. And worse, no soul. The deserted, damp and fog-covered streets of Silent Hill. The endless, empty yellow hallways of the back rooms, albeit how the back rooms was originally, when it was a series of empty and eerie liminal spaces, which unfortunately, it's not anymore. These places aren't haunted by ghosts, but by absence, by something missing. And that's what makes them so eerie and creepy. Real-world examples of unsettling liminal spaces. Being in a physical liminal space can be extremely uncomfortable for most people. They are often associated with a forlorn atmosphere. The very same place may be at one time be liminal, but at other times not. Other places feel like liminal spaces regardless of the time of day or year you visit them. We expect certain places to have a purpose, to be filled with people, sound and movement. And when they no longer appear to be fulfilling their purpose, whether temporarily or permanently, our brains register that something is ever so slightly wrong. The escalators in a closed shopping mall, where the escalators still hum but no one is around. A foggy road stretching into the dark, carrying no traffic, leading nowhere. At least, nowhere that can be identified. A stairwell that feels endless. The harrowing emptiness itself becomes unsettling. The global pandemic, everywhere was liminal. The global lockdowns of 2020 and 2021 are a perfect and very eerie example of liminality. Emotional liminality, as we were all suspended between what our lives were like before the virus and what they might be like afterwards. And physical liminality. Anyone who went out during the early days of lockdown will remember the uncanny feeling of being on a well-known street, usually bustling with life. But now, there you were, alone in the stillness and absolute silence. The unsettling beauty of liminal spaces. Liminal spaces make us feel uneasy because they remind us that the world isn't quite as structured as we would like to think. That time doesn't stop, but sometimes it can certainly feel like it lingers ever so slightly. Personally, when I think of a liminal space, I think of somewhere that would normally be full of people, but right now it's completely empty. But it's not badly decayed, because that's more a condemned building, and it's not unusual for a condemned building to be empty. Whether they creep you out or intrigue you, one thing is certain. Once you start noticing the many liminal spaces around you, you'll never stop seeing them. What's the most unsettling liminal space you've ever experienced? Or are you someone who finds them calming and enjoys them? Let us know in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this glimpse into the uncanny world of liminal spaces, please like and subscribe for more eerie videos from the hushed unease.